Hi, Jeremy Crow here. In this video I wanted to go over what the Ziggurat of Enki is, what sets it apart, and why you might be interested in exploring it or utilizing it. So to begin with, the Ziggurat of Enki is an open source initiatory system for operating temporary autonomous temples that provide a ritualized ordeal inspired by Babylonian mythology. So there's quite a bit to unpack there, but probably the closest thing to this that exists out there already is probably the OTO, Crowley's Thelemic Freemasonic order, in a sense, you could say. It's an esoteric order, the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis. It's an esoteric order that was once considered a kind of a fringe Freemasonic order that is was designed to teach certain aspects of occultism, and Aleister Crowley became the head of it, rewrote the rituals to conform to the law of Thelema, and then it's continued from then in that same kind of way. The big difference between there's several big differences, but let's just start from the first one, is that the OTO is a right-hand path organization. So that essentially means that the ultimate goal is that you give up the individuality, in a sense, for in the process of merging with some greater thing than yourself, some God or unity, something along those lines. Poetically, in Thelema, they say you give up every last drop of yourself into the cup of Babylon at the point of death, and not to hold back one drop, kind of thing. And then there's a state of ecstatic union. So that's the right-hand path thing. Left-hand path is where you will actually try and achieve personal divinity or apotheosis, achieving a state of self-deification, where you are the highest God in your own world. You are your own highest authority. And people can take this on another level beyond just that obvious kind of mundane level, but to more esoteric levels as well. So the Ziggurat of Enki is a left-hand path or complete path. I also use the term complete path to reference this because I feel that the terms right-hand path and left-hand path imply that they're complete opposites. Yet with the left-hand path, you don't shun the light. Like in the right-hand path, generally, you see a lot of people saying that they're light workers, they shun the darkness, and that's a very incomplete path, what most people think of as a right-hand path. The left-hand path, though, we don't shun we don't shun the light. We embrace the works of light, but in addition, we also embrace a courageous exploration of the darkness and working with what we find there, working to heal it, reintegrate it, all that good stuff. Get it working towards common goals. So the Ziggurat of Enki is a left-hand path or complete path institution. Actually, it's not really an institution because it's so anarchical in scope, and that's where the open source part comes in. So it's left-hand path. That's one big difference from the OTO or from Freemasonry, is that it's explicitly built up from left-hand path or complete path first principles. It's not something you have to kind of look at and dig out a left-hand path interpretation of it. It's there implicitly built into the system. The second big difference is the open source part. This is a freedom-based organization, not a permission-based organization. So you don't have to ask anybody to do it. There's no Supreme Council or Grand Inspectors General, or there's not even a Grand Lodge. So there's no body, there's no authority that issues charters for lodges. So if you want to start a lodge of the Ziggurat of Enki, a local ziggurat, the only thing you need to do is get a hold of the material, the ritual scripts, and enough people that are willing to do it with you. So for the initial ceremony, the Descent of Ishtar ceremony is the first ritual initiation ceremony that you'll be engaged with if you work the Ziggurat of Enki system. You need 5 people in total, including the candidate. So you need 4 main officers and a candidate. And you need the ritual script. And then you can perform it. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. You don't have to get an official charter to run the lodge. None of that. So it's not, you don't have to get permission from anyone. And nobody can revoke your charter. Nobody can stop you from doing it. Once you establish a lodge, nobody can stop you from running that lodge. It's open source in that sense. Freedom-based rather than permission-based. So that's another big differentiating factor. Another one is that it's based off of a genuine, or as close as possible, ideally genuine ordeal. So this is a transformative ordeal, a ritualized transformative ordeal that you're going to go through. Generally, it's a reenactment of a Babylonian myth, or inspired by a Babylonian myth that you'll do the reenactment of in a modified form. And this modified form is hopefully accentuating some of the more occult aspects of the initiation. So one of the things is that with initiation ceremonies in esoteric orders, generally, one of the big things that people will do is that they'll build it around the premise that you don't know what's going to happen. The candidate isn't aware of what's going to happen in the ceremony. It's an artificial sense of mystery that is being cultivated there, in the sense of just keeping secret what's going to happen in the ceremony, so that when the candidate goes through it, it's a surprise. And that is supposed to induce an altered state in the candidate. That sense of surprise and revelation of secrets. So to me, that's I kind of think of it as a artificial form of artificially created mystery, especially considering the fact that most of the time you can actually get a hold of these rituals, like for OTO, all the OTO rituals of initiation, people can read them online It doesn't take that much to find and read online. You can choose not to subject yourself to it so that you do maintain that sense of revelation or surprise, such as watching a movie that you don't know the ending to, you know. But you know, it's not a genuine secret. It's not a real mystery that you're receiving revelations from. There's an old example where from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where somebody, I can't remember who it was, it might have even been Crowley, was joking around that they went through this solemn ritual, and at the climax of the ceremony there was a sword placed on the back of their neck while they're bowed down, and they recite a death oath, you know, of secrecy to protect the secrets at the peril of their own life and the peril of their soul. And then once they went through that and gave the oath, they were solemnly presented with the secrets of the order, which were the Hebrew alphabet, you know. And it's like, well, that's not a secret. The Hebrew alphabet is absolutely not a secret, you know. Of course, there are attributions and such associated with them, but that was a list of the various things that they had to memorize. It was either the secrets of the order, you know. So it's a little, anticlimactic to have these artificial secrets or this artificial sense of mystery when it finally does get revealed to you. It's like, okay, well, kind of already knew that, you know. People rationalize this by saying, oh, well, it's a test of the character of the person to maintain the secrets even if they're worthless secrets, you know. Tell yourself whatever you got to tell yourself to sleep at night, to justify all the effort and personal resources that you're investing in this organization. But to me, you know, I crave that genuine sense of ordeal, that transformative ordeal that the ancient mystery schools would include, you know, something actually difficult to actually go through, you know, and not just the fact that you don't know what the play that you're going to play a role in, that you're going to be led through. You know, it's not really much of an ordeal if you can't fail it, right? So there's that, you know. So that's a third element to it, that there's no oath of secrecy. And this eliminates a lot of other issues as well. It doesn't just simply shift the impactful hook of the ritual from artificially created sense of mystery to a genuine transformative ritualized ordeal. It also, that removal of the oath of secrecy also prevents issues such as having to give an oath of secrecy that you don't know the oath before you're going to say it. Usually you end up in the middle of a ritual and they say, okay, now recite the oath after me. I, and then you say your name, hereby pledge that I will, and then you're saying this a sentence portion at a time. You don't even know what you're repeating until after you've said it, essentially. To me, that is not a contract entered into freely. That's a contract entered into under duress. You know, you're in there in this charged environment that people have set up for you, and basically if you don't agree with it, you're not gonna say, no, well, hold on, what does that mean, you know? Get them to clarify, you know, or even say it, yeah, you know what, I don't agree with that, let's stop, you know. that doesn't ever happen. Basically what happens if somebody is disappointed with the thing that they're being told to do or said to repeat, they'll just go through the motions of it, and then they'll just never show up ever again, you know? So this eliminates that because people know or can know, they can choose to know what they're getting themselves into beforehand by reading the ceremony. It also allows you to set up a lodge with 5 brand new people that have never done it before. You just take the rolls and then you rotate you do it 5 times. Everyone gets to play all 5 roles. Now you have an established lodge with everybody having done all 5 roles. Now anybody new coming in can be the initiate and then rotate through the roles as you would. But they've come in from being initiated by a fully experienced lodge, which is pretty cool. You can kind of bootstrap a lodge up. You don't have to visit other lodges for, years until you can get to like the 3rd degree where you have the authority, and you have to get 7 3rd degree members before you can get a charter and all that rigmarole. You just find 5 people or 4 other people besides yourself, give them the ritual scripts, and then you practice it and you do it. You can have spectators. You can have people who aren't initiates sitting there watching if everyone who's there agrees to allow them, because there's no oath of secrecy, that people are allowed to know what happens, in the thing. Of course you can have provisions among your own little group of that you're going to agree not to reveal each other's identities, or your involvement in the group. You don't have to even tell any kind of headquarters that you're engaged in this work. It can be a completely isolated temple that nobody knows about except for the specific individuals actively engaging in it. You can create a temporary autonomous temple at a conference for a weekend and then shut it down. You've experienced the initiations with people, you've shared that experience with them, and then closed it down. It was there for that purpose, and it existed in that time and place for that specific purpose, and then it shut down. You can't do that with something like the OTO without like somebody at headquarters approving it or things like that, right? And even then, it's going to be a pain, a headache to kind of get approval for something like that. They don't want just a temporary temple popped up, in the weekend and then closing. They want like established temples that are going to run for a while. So really, if you break it down, the 4 main differences between the OTO or Freemasonry and the Ziggurat of Enki are that, for one thing, Ziggurat of Enki is a left-hand path or complete path organization built up from the core that way. Number 2, it's based off of Mesopotamian mythology rather than Bible stories, or rather than, like in Freemasonry, it's mainly biblical stories or extra biblical stories related to biblical characters. Instead of that, or instead of the stories that the OTO ones are written based off of, like, the assassins or what have you, or the Templars, the narrative of these initiatory, ritualized, transformative ordeals, the narrative of them are based off of, inspired by Babylonian myths. So yeah, you've got left-hand path or complete path. You've got Babylonian-based, mythology-based rituals. You've got they're ordeal-based rather than mystery-based for the part that is transformative or gets you into that state where it's going to be transformative. And it is open source in the sense that there is no hierarchical authority telling you that you have permission to do it, or giving you permission to set this up, or to initiate that person, or whatever. It's freedom-based rather than permission-based. So those are the four main things. There's no secrecy, there's no charter required, there is Babylonian-based rituals, and it's built up from the left-hand path or complete path, first principles. So it's actually quite revolutionary. I'm not sure if you can see the potential of this kind of thing, but this is where I'm going to be dedicating my primary focus on. This is one of the main things this is my thing that I'm trying to do in this world with my life, you know. The legacy I'm trying to establish here is a lot of it is tied up into this project, the Ziggurat of Enki. The first initiation ceremony is actually kind of 7 initiations put into one ceremony, in a sense, and it's the descent of Ishtar is what it's based off of, and that is out. That's established, and you're going to see more of this in the future. I'm going to release the script to the public for free that you can just download if you'd like, and that's part of this open source thing. And yeah, if you have any questions about it, please ask me in the comments. If you see some kind of potential use for that, share that as well and let me know what you think. There might be untapped potentials that I haven't even thought of with this. But yeah, let me know. Let's discuss this. I wanted you guys to know what this project is, why it's so important to me, and why you might be interested in that. I mean, I can't think of a better way to set up a Black Lodge kind of thing, you know. It can be completely private. That's one of the amazing things about it too. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. There's going to be several more initiation ceremonies that are going to be coming out in the future, and yeah, let's get this rolling. Thanks, guys.